Hi, Ole.
Hello, hello.
What's happening?
I tell you, Jason, this is massive.
What happened?
When we did the last recording, did I tell you about that there was this journalist in Brussels that reported that there had been an emergency meeting in Brussels?
I don't recall.
Okay. So I'm coming to you with what I think is absolutely massive breaking news, and I would very much like if you could please help me share this info as soon as possible, because
Sure.
I think I found some dots on massive big events that I'm now pulling together.
Okay.
So if you remember when we went out with this warning very recently about this, what I believe to have been a planned uh, terror tour of Europe, with 39 different targets.
Well, they call it a drill, of course.
Yeah, but it's 39 different targets
Yeah.
in 5 different countries. And the countries London, Manchester, Paris, Barcelona, and Rotterdam.
Right.
And right now, you in London and Manchester, you have the big Brexit thing that's going down right now
Right.
these days. The big where England is trying to leave the European Union,
Right.
that's Brexit. And if something like that would happen, they could then use that to force England back under the umbrella of the dark forces. We also have in Barcelona, which is exactly the city they're talking about, that is the massive uprising at the moment because they want to free themselves from Spain. It's the Catalonia freedom fighters.
Right.
So that is another target. Then we have Paris that have massive problems with the yellow vests.
Oh, yeah.
So that would also take care of that problem. And then we have Sweden that therefore trying to force into NATO with all the scares of Russian things. So with the two nuclear power plant disasters there, that would solve that as well. Because these two, I'm sure, would be blamed at the Russians and the rest would be blamed at the Muslims. Okay, so here, I don't know about Rotterdam. I have no idea, but Holland or the Netherlands have been very central in so many of these things, with the creation of the
Yeah.
Bilderberg.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why, but what can I say?
Wow.
So, so recently, I've been able to totally blow the cover of the alleged terror attack in Stockholm.
Yep.
I think we had this in the last interview. That was what made me fall over this or stumble into this whole thing. And one of the things there is that there's a girl, it's always, women and children that they try to hit.
Oh, you mean
so
Greta, whatever her name is, that little girl?
no, it's not Greta. It's another. Her name is Ebba Åkerlund. It was an 11-year-old girl that is said to have been totally ripped apart by this truck that went down this pedestrian street in Stockholm.
Okay.
Well, I've had photos, the photos of her totally torn apart body, checked out by physicians that have more than 25 years of expertise in London to look at the photos, and they say, "Why do you send me photos? It's not even a human body," because this body is torn apart. But they say, had it been human, there would have been a total bleed out, at least 5 to 6 liters of lymph fluid and blood and so on. And also they say that where the body has been torn apart, it's latex, it's rubber. So she was like, "Why are you wasting my time?" I said, "It's only one of the biggest crimes in Swedish history, so that's why." Anyway, so I've been looking into the parents of this alleged girl, and I found that her father's name is not Stefan Åkerlund, it's Stefan Agerbark, and he is, it's, what can I say, that's his name, and he is accused of some clients to be involved in financial crime things, so maybe that's why they got him by the balls. I don't know, but financial crimes. And then I looked into her mother, who's been on TV many times, doing the whole crying story and that. And then I finally stumble over that her name is Jeanette C. Phoebe Åkerlund, and she is employed in the Norwegian office of Chubb Insurance Company of Europe.
I used to use that insurance company.
It's CHUBB.
Yeah.
And it belongs to the ACE European Group, ACE, in Stockholm.
Uh-huh.
And the main office is in England, and it's called Job European Group Limited, with Evan G. Greenberg as chairman and CEO.
Right.
And Chubb is the biggest world, on the stock market,
Publicly
insurance
held.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought Greenberg, I know that name, Greenberg. So I just checked, because Morris Hank Greenberg, who used to be...
Greenberg Quinlan Rosner, is that him?
No, Morris Hank Greenberg. He used to be former chairman and director of the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. He's also previously nominated to be the director of the CIA. He was a frequent attendee of the Bilderberg meetings. He was a former director of the New York Stock Exchange. He was chairman of the Star Foundation, and he's connected with several firms related to U.S. intelligence activity.
Is this the guy who was the CEO of AIG? Maurice Greenberg?
That is the guy.
Is he Greenberg's a pretty common name. Is he related to this child?
Morris is the dad of Evan G. Greenberg.
Oh.
He's the father.
Wow, I see that. Yes, I see that. Children, Evan G. Greenberg, right.
Yeah, so he is... So here... Okay, so I'll reverse. When 9/11 happened, the exact location where the first alleged plane hit the first tower, that was the office of AIG. Mm-hmm. And they say, people that know more about 9/11 than I do, that it was part of erasing a lot of really heavy
debt
and evidence against this super illegal company. Okay, so we have that one on. Then in the whole financial crash in the world, I believe AIG
2008,
was
they were pivotal. Yes,
pivotal in that one. And then when the MS Estonia, which was a ferry,
Estonian we spoke about ferry, with Cody like 2-3 weeks ago.
Exactly. When that was blown up and killing almost 1,000 people as part of the cover-up, I believe, of the assassination of the Swedish Prime Minister, or the alleged assassination of Olof Palme. There were 9 people in the crew that were first rescued, and they were listed as alive. They even took the temperature, they did all of it, and suddenly they were dead. They were on list the dead. They just disappeared, these 9 individuals. One of them, the second captain in charge, I don't know what that is in English, but the second in command captain, his name was Arvo Piet. He was even filmed by a West German TV crew, and then he suddenly disappears and is dead, even though Interpol, they made
all points bulletin?
No, they made an search for thing for Arvo Piet, for the captain, even though he was officially dead. Yeah, they put out an international search
a warrant for him.
Yeah, a warrant, for this guy. Anyway, a friend of mine, who is unfortunately now dead, he did some incredible research, and he found out that there were 2 private jets that came to Sweden and picked up these 9 crew members and flew them out to wherever. No one knows what happened to them. And these 2 planes, one belonged to International Lease Finance Corporation, owned by a Swedish millionaire called L.E. Magnusson, and the second plane was a Boeing 727-200 register number VR-CLM, which belonged to Larmac Aviation Cayman Limited. And this this aircraft leasing company is controlled by billionaire Morris Greenberg's AIG. So here, and it was paid by the U.S. Embassy. The fees at the airport was paid for by the U.S. Embassy. So here we have the assassination of Olof Palme, cover-up of Estonia, where the crew members were transported out by planes controlled by AIG. We have 9/11, where the first hit was in this office. They were also part of a lot of the whole weird things around 9/11, making absolute bundles. Then we have the international finance crash, boom, bang. And then we have the alleged terror attack in Stockholm on April 7, 2017, where the mother of a fake victim is working at exactly the company that is owned by the son of Morris Greenberg, Evan G. Greenberg. Now, is that a coincidence? I think we're right in the middle and the belly of the beast.
You know, the other thing that strikes me, and I'm sorry to be distracted by this, but do you know who else flew a Boeing 727?
No?
Jeffrey Epstein. Do you know it's the least common Boeing aircraft, and it's incredibly inefficient? And I always wonder, why would these millionaire super dudes purchase the least common Boeing that you'd have a difficult time finding mechanics for and parts for, versus the 737, which there's a million of them around?
I have no idea, but it's an interesting point you make.
I wonder what's unique about that 727. I mean, Charles will tell me that just because airlines all got rid of them, they can be bought inexpensively, and I acknowledge that. But the other thing about the Boeing 727 is that it's the only tri-jet that Boeing ever made. And the problem and the reason why aircraft manufacturers don't make these tri-jets anymore is that they're much more difficult to service the engines, because the third engine uses this complicated S-duct mechanism. I wonder why these guys are flying 727s.
Very interesting. I wonder, the plane that Barry Seal were flying, that was then suddenly ended up with George Bush Jr. in his ownership. What kind of plane was that? Was that such a plane as well?
No, he had a big cargo plane. He had a C-130 or something.
No. He had a whole fleet of planes. But there was, when he was murdered, you know, when they took him out, ordered by Oliver Stone, Chip Tatum overheard Oliver Stone give the order to take out Barry Seal.
Oliver Stone overheard that?
No, sorry, Oliver North.
Ah.
So, thank you for correcting me, my God. Thank you for correcting me. Anyways, but let's get back on point here. Evan G. Greenberg is also part of the he's also part of the board meeting of International Rescue Committee, IRC, which is in a whole line of different aid organizations, and with refugee things. I would very much like to look into that one. What is that? Because very often things have a very nice cover and it looks very nice on the surface, but then you get into like the Clinton Foundation helping in Haiti and stuff like that, and you will see that it's just a major money laundering, horrible fraud, and also very, very cruel to the population of the countries where they are active.
Right.
So I just wanted to share this with you, Jason, and get it out there as soon as possible so it will not be stopped, because I think this is connecting dots in a major game, you know.
Okay. Well, I'll put this out, Ole, and then maybe what'll happen is on Monday when we do the normal show on Patreon and Subscribestar, people can tune in to Light on Conspiracies with Ole Dammegard Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll get more into this. Maybe we'll get Cody involved.
Yeah, perfect. Also, you will see that this journalist who, when I blew the whistle, he contacted me. He's working in Brussels, and he said that he felt that there was something big coming up, but he didn't understand what it was until he saw my part of the puzzle. And he said that night they were called for a big crisis meeting where all the defense ministers in NATO was called to an emergency meeting. Also, Vice President Pence was called back out from Israel back to this, and they had let me just see. They had members of the Security and Foreign Affairs Cabinet were notified that an urgent session had been called for Tuesday night as well. So I tell you, I think they're shitting themselves that this is creating absolute mayhem, because this was planned to be as big as 9/11,
Well,
but
see,
in Europe.
that's, I think, happening in the U.S. as well, because all the news over here is about William Barr going around to all these different countries and meeting with the intelligence officials, and his lead investigator, John Durham, just last week, his investigation transitioned from an administrative inquiry into a criminal probe. And, I mean, yesterday there were multiple announcements of various Democratic politicians in Chicago, Obama's stomping ground, getting arrested. And there was a federal judge, I think, in Brooklyn who was arrested, a Democrat-appointed judge. So there appears to be some swamp drainage going on, Ole, and I think it's an international effort.
No, the empire is falling apart. If we pull the plug on the empire, it is crumbling. It is falling apart now, and they are in panic mode. I think the next few days here, we're going to see more and more of these bizarre things. They're going to try diversion things like al-Baghdadi. They killed him yet again. I mean, I don't know how many times you need to kill a person to actually kill them.
When was he first killed?
No, the first. Okay, the first. Oh, it's a long story, but the
All right,
first.
well, we'll talk about that on Monday because we got to get this out, and we don't have a lot of time right now. So we'll talk about Baghdadi and any questions that might surround his death on Monday. But all right, Ole, thanks for this, and let me get this thing out. Yeah.
And please, anyone who listens to this, thank you for sharing the first time, and let's do it again. Let's just keep follow through. Just like when you play tennis, you need to follow through all the way. Otherwise, it won't work. So just follow through, spread. And let's see that this will be part of creating a beautiful, wonderful world for us all.
All right. Well, we'll put this on YouTube, even though the last time you and me and Cody put a video on YouTube, I still can't monetize my YouTube channel, and they're mad about that video. I can't get in touch with them. I can't get it wiped from the record. It's amazing. But all right, I will talk to you very soon, Ole. Thanks for this.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.